I had the pleasure of being able to watch the film in its entirety. I found it riveting. It was so incredibly special, and I want to make sure that our audience really hears the roots of this film, how this was planted in you. And for those of you who haven't seen Mama's Voice, I would love for you to really break down this film for us and why this is such an important story to be told right now, and why you are the perfect people to be telling this story.
Renée, thank you so much for this opportunity. We are very honored to present, to have our world premiere at the Femme International Film Festival. The film will be screened on Saturday, October 18th at 2 p.m. at Regal Theater in downtown Los Angeles. What can I tell you? The film began for us very unexpectedly. The same way how Russia waged a full-scale invasion of Ukraine on February 24, 2022. My husband and I, we didn't believe to the end that this will happen. This madness will happen, but still it's going on. It will be almost like, it will be 4 years in February. So for us, this film started as a way to cope with grief, loss, existential crisis in times of a full-fledged war, when my sister and film director Hanna had to flee from Russian army in the northern suburbs in Kyiv. She had only 15 minutes to decide to leave or to go. She grabbed her children. She grabbed apples and milk and passports and laptop, whatever that was on the table. And she asked my parents, my mom and my dad, please go with me. Because what happened when the invasion started, they were in Kyiv first. It started in the morning at 5 a.m. and they started fleeing. The entire Kyiv population was fleeing from the capital, because we know from the experience of the Second World War that suburbs is the safest place because access to water, access to food. People suffered more in the big cities during the Second World War, but the entire population was moving, and her trip from Kyiv to this little village Zabucha took her almost 6 hours. But by the time they came, the invasion was at full force and the bombing was nonstop. So they spent 24 hours in the cellar, and it's a cellar, very little place where you would store jams, sauerkraut, cucumber pickles, whatever, 5 people. The little girl, her daughter was 5. She was so scared, and probably she was the one who pushed her, because the bombing was getting closer and closer. The major attack, the major military airport is only 10 kilometers from them. And she just grabbed the children and went. And my mom had to make a very, very difficult decision. Should she stay or should she go? Because my father was very firm. He said, this is my land, this is my house, this is my garden. I'm not leaving. I will defend. So my mom said, I'll go with you. You will need help. You have little children. And accidentally, they just arrived in Poland. And also accidentally, they ended up in a great family of Polish ethno-musicians, Kaja and Janusz Prusinowski, who opened their hearts and their home for my family. And they gave tremendous support. And basically my sister just recovered, probably because she developed this very strong bond with Kaja, who is also artist and singer and mother of 5. So it gave her meaning. That's film is also not only about the loss and grief and women's strengths and women's friendship in the times of crisis. It's also a film about the power of art to heal and reconnect and to recover.
I found that to be one of the most riveting parts of this film. As a fellow artist, and I'm a multi-hyphenate myself, I nurture a lot of disciplines. And I remember somebody saying to me many years ago that, well, you're not saving lives with art. And I've always disagreed with that statement, because I think that art absolutely does save lives. Even looking down back to just even the simplicity of the pandemic, people were leaning into art to get through that space. And that is so indicative in this film of that bond of art and how it is this international conduit to emotional compassion. Also, I would love for you to speak a little bit about the language barrier and the bond between these women. I found that also to be such a compelling part of the story. As a person who is only English speaking, as so many Americans are, I'm learning that there's this wall that I think has created a divide between how people can interconnect. And I found that to be such a beautiful part of this story, that art with not only the universal language, but even with a language barrier, these two women found this profound bond. And I'm wondering if you'll speak a little bit on that, what that was like in real life, how to capture that on film, and what that experience was for you.
Yeah, we were kind of afraid that the English-speaking people will be, it will be very difficult to pick up, because both are Slavic languages, Polish and Ukrainian. But it's a different languages. So for us, it was, even for subscription, was difficult to decide how to convey this message. There's these two women, it's incredible. Each of them speak their own language, but they do understand each other because they listen to each other, because they absorb each other culture, because they have so much in common, and art is one of them.
Yeah. And there was this beautiful moment in your film that, and I'm sorry, I definitely want to get back to you, but I don't want to forget to point out what I thought was so poignant between the young men, the two boys. And I believe there's like a tutorial on like a homework assignment.
Physics.
And
yeah.
Physics, thank you. And it would seem like that scene was expository, but I found it so necessary, because it spoke to that ability to cross over that language barrier and see the boys work together and support each other. I thought that was such a beautiful moment in the film. And there are a lot of those moments that appeared as on paper expository, but were so critical to the unfolding of the humanity of the storytelling piece.
Yeah.
So
Renée, you're reading. Yeah, I was about to comment on that, but I don't know if you noticed, but as a bridge between Ukrainian and Polish, the boys, they use English.
Okay. Yeah.
Actually,
They switched to broken
English.
English.
They switched to broken English, and that was at the very beginning case for many Ukrainians, because Polish was so, though very close, at the very early stage, they didn't understand it. So, like Larysa's sister, she was turning to English at the very beginning if she didn't know Polish word. And that was very interesting to see on our side, that Ukrainians are using the English as an international bridge to understand language which is much closer than English to them.
Yeah, but there is also an episode where Kaya and Anya, it's like, we call it Polish, my Polish lessons, where she tries to repeat the word. She cannot get pronunciation. She repeats it again and again. She understands the meaning of the word, because like it all's rooted in the old Slavonic. So we are able to figure out of context many things. But she's struggling with pronunciation. She turns to the 5-year-old, to Malva, her little daughter, and Malva repeats it like immediately. Like, she was, in a month, she was able to speak without an accent, but she has abilities like her father is a singer, and she has some musical abilities, which, by the way, she continues in Poland as well. So she was able, for her, like, probably this adaptation, despite the traumatic experience, despite the fact that she was afraid of loud noises, of airplanes passing over the house, still afraid. But of course, not as the first 3 months, 6 months. she embraced the Polish culture, and she was able to participate in the orchestra and participate in singing competition. And her group won the first prize after 2 months in Poland.
Oh, wow. She was such a delightful character to witness to in this film. There's that moment where she doesn't want to eat her grandfather's candy because he had given it to her, and the reminder of the homeland. And I think there are so many really beautiful moments in that film that depict that connection to our homelands, and I think we all have. And I would love for you to speak on that a little bit. You know, how is there? I'm trying to think of the best way but that your film does such an incredible way of like balancing like pain and hope and this cultural connection to our homeland. How did you find that balance in the storytelling?
Yes, that's when we were making the film, I know that there is so much tragedy around, like blood, war, people lose lives. Like we are sitting in Canada, we are impacted very much because over these years we lost childhood friends, we lost classmates. Our friends lost their children in this war. But at the same time, we wanted to convey a very optimistic message of hope and the bonds, these invisible threads that connect us to each other. So when we were deciding on the title of the film, it was very difficult because first we were thinking about maybe Hanna's voice, because Hanna, she's a cancer survivor. She had a surgery in December, right before the invasion. Her thyroid was removed, so she couldn't talk, she couldn't speak when she fled from Ukraine. So basically, Kaya, with her singing lessons and her kindness, she returns the voice to the Ukrainian refugee.
Oh, wow.
But Mama's voice is not about the voice of one woman. It's, of course, it's a voice about the larger motherland. It's this voice is inside of everyone, of those who stayed, of those who left. This connection to the motherland, to our culture, will stay forever. And that's why our film starts with this prehistoric Neolithic figurine of Tripillian culture. So we want to connect it back to thousands of years ago. So we will have the refugees will always have connected to their motherland. That's probably what we also want to say.
Yeah. Also, at the very end, where Maiva finds she meets her father as a part of this singing, the part of the band that came to Poland from Ukraine. That's another part of culture. At the time of the war, the culture it also unites people, and those men who were there. It was very difficult for them to get a permission to leave Ukraine, but they knew why they're doing this. And they came specifically to thank you, Polish people, but also to fundraise to help Ukrainian army, to help to get some, I don't know, the vehicles for the first emergency help and other things. So the culture, the closeness of the culture and understanding between Polish and Ukrainian culture groups, because Janusz was very close to the Horeya Kazacka as well, that also shows a different angle and different layer of the connection between Ukrainian and Polish.
Yeah, these two families have so much in common. Both families, Rusinovsky and Yarovenko, they appreciate their roots. They are ethnographers. They preserve the culture. So that's why these two women making art, making handmade art, singing together, going to refugees, Ukrainian refugees, they were housed in the schools at the beginning. It's also part of moral and psychological support. So you'll see, this film is a time capsule. It captures the first months of war. And that's a power of documentary films. Of course, life evolves, but I'm so happy that we were able to capture this first month, and it's like a video diary of my sister.
You really did capture it amazingly. And I love the testimonial too of this being a video diary of your sister. One of the things that you just said really resonated for me, because when you talk about appreciating the roots and preserving cultures, for me, that's one of the takeaways of this film and why it fits so perfectly in this festival, because that in and of itself, that larger storytelling piece of appreciating what our roots are, even if they're different. In my experience after watching the film, my family were Cuban refugees that came to the United States during 1962 during the Cuban Missile Crisis, and very different experience. But once I watched this film, it planted a seed in me to get curious and start asking my family questions that I hadn't had an impetus to ask in a long time from watching your film. That curiosity came to my motherland and so how much I've taken for granted being born and raised in the United States and what my parents did to get us here. And I thought that was so beautiful about this story. And whether or not culturally we can directly relate to the experience that you guys are living, it really does speak to humanity and how we all have that connection to understanding our origin and protecting our origin. And so I want to thank you all for putting this beautiful film into the world. I'm excited to continue to promote it. I want to make sure that people come and see it.
Saturday, October 18th, 2 p.m. at the Regal Theater A9.
2 p.m. Theater 9. I'll make sure our viewers have that right. And I also have the pleasure of reviewing your film. So I will, I'm going to put that together in the next couple of days here and make sure that is in your inbox prior to the 18th. So your audiences can continue to come and support you. I could talk to you guys forever. Thank you so much for putting this incredibly important piece of art into the world. I wish I could meet your sister too. Is she coming to the festival? I'm curious.
Unfortunately, her English is not that great, plus visa, plus
understood.
You can imagine that she is still a refugee. She is still in Poland. The little update is that over this time, because we were able, of course, to purchase her camera, and she has her own studio. So she is contributing to the Polish society. She is making films for the city of Mlawa, and she works with the Ukrainian and Polish children. She has a film studio for children, and that's she is making animation with the children. And actually, one of her projects was just selected to be screened in Brazil. So life goes on. This is the message of the film. Life goes on regardless. Whatever we are humans, we should stay connected and help each other. And talking to you, I really feel your support. I really feel it. So thank you.
Truly.
Yeah, thank you, Renee. Thank you very much.
You got it. From human being to other human beings, I am riveted by your story. It has been my honor and pleasure to interview you. I adore your work. I want to continue to support and elevate your voice and the Ukrainian voice and any marginalized, oppressed community in the world. We are human beings, and it is time that we look for each other's innocence and not our guilt. So I thank you for all that you are doing, and I'm going to close out this interview with showing a beautiful trailer to your film, and I will see your film, not you guys, but your film on the 18th. I'm going to be waving a banner to get butts in the seats.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Of course. Please join me in watching a clip of this gorgeous film.
Raz, dwa, trzy, cztery,
Мы будем стремиться к демилитаризации и денацификации Украины.
Moje serce ukoić się nie chce, tylko się tak burzy, jak woda w konewce.
Вилажу я з погреба, прислухаюся, знову наче затихло. Потім знову пішло губ-губ. Ірпінь – це кілометр від нас. чую такий потужний вибух, що я аж присіла. І цей вибух був як такий спусковий крючок «біжи».
А ці танки тут були постійно. Це був полігон, де гралися наші діти. А це кусок осколка, який я знайшов там у теплиці.
А як ти думаєш, що дід зараз робить?
Думаю, що він сидить в погрібі.
Чому?
Ну, тому що
Тобто?
стріляють. Я хочу додому.
Я хочу додому теж, але ж
Как уже твои малые дети? Уже ночами плачешь, уже нервы не хватает.
кум каже, в Києві по 3-4 тривоги за день, а я уявляю, як це на нервах
А у нас ось
сказується дітям.
Слушаешь жаби?
Все має свій голос, все живе. Владимир Владимирович Путін, щоб ти здох.
В небе